Hi everyone, and welcome to Learn Business with Jade, the channel where I share all the tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way while building my tall fashion brand Rosanna London. And today we'll be talking about competitor analysis. What is it? When do you need to do it? How do you do it? And why is it important? So first of all, what is competitor analysis? Competitor analysis is a strategy where you identify major competitors and research them. This helps you understand the ins and outs of how your competition works, find out what they're doing right and opportunities that they haven't taken advantage of, i.e. identify gaps in the market. Now we know what competitor analysis is, let's talk about when you should do competitor analysis. I've got some notes I'm looking down, I'm looking at. So there's two instances when you should think about doing competitor analysis: before you launch and after you launch, and I guess after / for the lifetime of your brand. So before you launch, this will help you identify gaps in the market, make sure you're offering something unique, or at least a variation, or at least a unique variation. So for example, there's loads of t-shirts around. What does your brand do different? What is different to your t-shirt brand? Is it like the graphics are like really cool? Is it the quality? Is it how it's made? All these kind of things. It's really important to know beforehand, because you have to ask yourself the question, why would someone that's been shopping with Rosanna, for example, for 15 years, why would they want to choose your brand instead? And what are you offering that's different? Whether it's the fact that it's made to order, all these kind of things you have to consider before you launch, to provide you, or to ensure you have like a successful launch and there's actually customers out there to buy your pieces. And then after you launch, that's for the lifetime of your brand. I think you should do competitor analysis regularly, just to tap in and see what's going on in the market. This will help you kind of create marketing strategies. This will help you create plans for growth. So for example, let's say that you're only selling in the UK, but there's tall women all around the world, or actually more specifically, I'm obviously based in London and there's tall women in London, but a massive market is America. However, a market that I wouldn't really consider would be Asia, because statistically Asians are shorter, and they're not, that's in the average height of an Asian, whether it be Southeast Asians like Chinese and Vietnamese, or South Asians like Indians and Pakistanis, they tend to be shorter, and they're not going to be my market, the tall market. So when doing competitor research, I can have a look and see, hold on, there are a lot of American tall brands. That's a good market for me to explore. So similarly, there are 0 to none Asian, or like there's no market there. My customers or my competitors are not looking into that market. I'd probably not focus on there either, because there's not customers there. So it's important just to figure out, look at what your competitors are doing, look at how your customers are responding to your competitors, and kind of take all that information and enable you to create effective strategies. Okay, so now we know what and we know when. Let's talk about how and why you should do competitor analysis. So there's 3 main steps of how to do competitor analysis. It's relatively straightforward once you get into the hang of it. Key things to know, I'd say, is that everything I'm talking about, please put this into a spreadsheet. It's a lot easier. When I first did my first competitor analysis, I did it by hand on paper, which was annoying when I had to like change numbers, update it. It was very illogical of me. I don't know why I even thought that writing it in a notebook made sense. It did not. So please start with a spreadsheet. You can update it. Let's say September 2020. Then you might want to do it again in December. You might want to do it again in Jan or whenever. Because create a new page, update it, and it's easy to see. And also easy to share with your team and so on and so forth. Cool. So first thing, you need to identify direct competitors. Now, a direct competitor is someone that makes products that are similar or substitutes of yours. An indirect competitor is someone that the products could satisfy the need that your customer has. For example, your customer is looking for workout leggings. I sell workout leggings, you sell workout leggings. We are direct competitors. An indirect competitor is someone that sells workout joggers. Your customer has the need of workout bottoms. Even though they're looking for leggings, joggers could satisfy that need. So that company is an indirect competitor, not a direct. I hope that makes sense. Yep. Cool. Secondly, you need to choose a metric, or metrics rather, to measure all the brands. So for example, you could be looking at what social media they're on, but you can't look at, so you can't kind of measure that competitor 1 it has Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then competitor 2 you don't even look at what social media accounts they have. It's not really going to be a clear or effective analysis. So you need to choose metrics that you're going to measure all your brands, all the competitors against. This could be what social media accounts they have, how often they post, do they have a cohesive feed, or are they more here and there? Do they post on, do they have an email newsletter? How often do they email? Could be their website. Do they update their website regularly? How do they announce new pieces? How often do they release new pieces? Their about page, all these kind of things. How long is their description? Do they have a size guide? All these kind of things. You need to have metrics for all the competitors. You can also, it's a bit more difficult, you can also look at sales metrics as well, how much they're selling. This always depends on whether they're a big brand that has investors, and then that means they'll have a corporate portfolio or corporate statement on their website. For example, ASOS. You go on ASOS, you can find their end of year figures for sales per area, or is it per country, but you can find out all that information. For independent brands, that's harder to find. They don't have investors because they don't need to legally, if I'm not mistaken, post them publicly. But you can actually look at how often they do sales. So kind of how often they do promotions. That can help you understand whether how often you should do promotions, whether this is kind of route you want to go down. It's going to be USP of yours that you never do promotions, that you always do promotions. These kind of things you need to consider. Also, when looking at metrics, it's also important to look at the size of the company. This is a mistake that I made. So I'm making kind of like really good quality tall pieces. I made the mistake of looking at indirect competitors, and also indirect competitors that are way bigger than me. So for example, comparing Rosanna, my brand, to ASOS is ridiculous. The fact that they have next day delivery, the amount of products they have, they're not a competitor, and it's not kind of the same level. It's important to look at other small businesses, other medium-sized businesses, other large businesses, to make sure they're on your level because they're actually competitors. Choose a metric, blah, 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 and then you have to analyze and compare between brands. So like analyze and compare between the competitors, and then analyze and compare between your brand or your prospective brand and the competitors. So figure out differences. Do all of them only sell on Etsy, for example, or do they all have websites, or are they on both? Do they work with influencers? Do they not? Do they post more videos? Do they have an email newsletter or not? Kind of just figure out these things and compare them to your brand, and also compare them between each other. Now, a key thing to know, or two key things to know, is that when doing competitor analysis, this is to refine, not redirect your brand. So, for example, in the tool market, there's some people that only sell workwear. I might look at them and say, wow, this brand is doing really well. They're selling thousands. They've got a million subscribers on YouTube, or 1 million followers on Instagram. I should change to that. No, that's not what it's about. Or someone else selling pajamas, I should change to that. It's not about following and copying. This is where it comes to that plagiarism and dupes that are really copies. That is not what you're trying to do. Competitor analysis, it's not even about being inspired. It's more about looking at the numbers. So you're looking at numbers, you're not looking at the pieces. So a key difference could be, so there's a key difference between competitor analysis and looking at trends. Looking at trends could be, for example, it's COVID, you should look at selling more loungewear. That's a trend that you'll see across everyone. Versus, oh wow, that orange dress has sold out, let me make a copy of that dress. That is not what competitor analysis is about at all. It's about looking at the numbers, and therefore not looking at the design. I hope this makes sense. So you're looking at the numbers is to refine your brand, not redirect. You should have a clear mission statement in mind, have a clear vision in mind, and stick with that. Do not let competitor analysis divert you from what your brand is all about. And secondly, when doing competitor analysis, it's really important to not focus too much on others, and therefore lose focus of yourself and your own brand. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. Do not compare yourself to these brands, even when you're doing the analysis. It's quite difficult. I think this is why it's important to not do competitor analysis like every single day. I'd say do it maybe once a month, once every 2 months, once a quarter. You kind of do it at regular intervals and just look at the numbers. It can be difficult when you're a small brand. This is what I meant when I said compare yourself and your brand to people on your level. So when I started, I was comparing myself to House of CB, for example. And this is when there's two key issues here. First and foremost, House CB would be an indirect competitor because they don't sell tall clothing. They don't even have a tall section, but they do sell the quality of clothing that I sell. However, we are not on the same level. Rosanna is what I launched in November, so it's basically about a year old. House CB is 10 years old. I can't be comparing myself to both the amount of items they have, the process they have in place, the price point, all these kind of things. I can't compare myself because we're not on the same level, and therefore I might end up, and I did lose focus on what Rosanna was all about, and I got kind of disheartened. I'm not doing as well. They're selling out this, that, but I didn't look at their mailing list. I didn't look at how often they email out. Look at how many, the fact that they have physical stores, the fact they have influencers, the fact that people, they have a reputation now that I'm still currently trying to build. So when doing competitor analysis, please, 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 do not copy, do not lose focus, and do not redirect your brand based on what you learn. It's all about refining your brand, kind of learning about the numbers and the processes behind it. Not necessarily looking at the brand, but looking at the brand through numbers. I hope this is making sense. But yeah, that is me all done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it useful. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Learn Business with Jade. I post there about 5-6 times a week, and it's all different interesting and useful stuff, not only the videos. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.